I'm Em. That's Andrew. We're here to talk about LGBTQ plus employee groups. Benefits, lessons learned, and a case example. Just want to give a quick shout out to Mara Assendorf, our lovely colleague, and was leading the group for a good while, but she just went off to get her master's in public health at Johns Hopkins. So thanks, Mara, if you're watching. Yeah.
Sweet. So, before we begin the presentation, I know it's fairly early and we've all had some snacks, but I'm going to ask everyone where they are in their seats to stand up. Stand up, if you're able to stand up. And this is something called a shakedown. Now, my background is in theater, that's why I am loud. So everyone raise their right hand in the air and flop their wrist down. And we're going to count down from 10 and do a shake every number. So that goes something like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we do the left hand, and you're all going to say the numbers with me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right foot. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left foot. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great, we all got the concept? Now we're going to go down to 9, and it speeds up a little bit. This is a way to wake you up, and this is a parachute that you can pull. If you feel your energy waning, be like, Andrew, shake us down. And we'll do it. We'll do 5 instead of from the 10 for the parachute. But now we go 9. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. And cakes. Thank you so much. And now, because we've talked a lot about networking and getting to know each other, we're going to help do that for you. So we're going to start here with my friend Lee, and we're going to go serpentine this way to the back of the room. This is something called pass the mic. This in my hand is a microphone. Can you see it? Yes. So this is a microphone. So there's a couple things that we're going to say. We're going to say name, the pronouns you use, where you work, and what city that's in. And then in 3 words-ish, ask, keep it small, why you do what you do. Why you do what you do. So for example, my name is Andrew. I use he, him, his pronouns. I work at PHMC in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And why I do what, I'm a health educator. And say your job title too, that'll help us for some context. I'm a health educator, and why I do what I do is because education breeds revolution. For example.
My name is Lee. I use he, him pronouns. I live in Philadelphia. Also work at PHMC. I'm the director of the Philadelphia Area Sexual Health Initiative there. And I love people.
And you can throw the mic right over here.
Okay, so I'm throwing the mic.
We're going serpentine like this.
Okay, so throwing the mic.
Nice guy.
I'm Catherine Schott. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I work for Planned Parenthood of Western Pennsylvania. I'm a clinical provider out of our Pittsburgh office. And I too love people, and I love watching people transform.
My name is Janet. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from here in Pittsburgh. I work at the VIA Center down in McMurray, south of the city, as an outpatient mental health therapist. I do what I do because I like to make people happy.
I'm Amy Shanahan. I work at Western Psychiatric Hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Oh, she, her, thank you. And I work in addiction medicine. I do what I do because I mostly teach and train, and I like to motivate people and watch people change.
Oh, next to you, throw it back.
Wow.
Oh my.
for serpentine. Are we gonna argue already?
Maybe it's a different definition of serpentine in Philadelphia.
No. I'm doing my own thing.
Oh. My name is Charlie Brovich, they, them pronouns. I'm the Transgender Health Project Manager for Allegheny Health Network. And I do that because in grad school I decided I wanted to be a trans health adventure, and here I am.
Well, I didn't have a mic to show you.
Hold on, I got scared. Ready? Here it comes. Oh, next match.
My name is Sue. My pronouns are she and her. I am a registered nurse. I work in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am a health educator and really working with people is my passion. I love seeing their eyes, and seeing changes and seeing them be happy, or when you're working with them and teaching them, and you know you've reached them. That's important.
All right, what's the serpentine?
Oh, okay.
And right behind you.
Okay.
Nice. Good.
My name's Nicole Molash. She and her. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. I work at the Erie County Department of Health. I'm a social worker, but I manage the Health Promotion and Quality Improvement Division at the Health Department, and I do what I do because I care. There you go.
A hard throw for someone so close, but I like the concept.
Absolutely. She can catch it.
My name's Kim Sayer. I identify with she and her. I work at the Erie County Health Department. I'm actually the project secretary for our tobacco program. And I love numbers. I love taking care of the budget and supporting on the program.
Hi, I'm Laura Backus. I use she and her. I'm with the Erie County Department of Health. I'm a health educator in the HIV division. I love health and I love people. Most people.
Very honest and excellent. Thank you so much.
Same. You're good. Would you like to
Go back to me.
So, name what pronouns you use, what you do, and where. And in 3-ish words, why you do what you do.
Okay.
My name is Dayon Poe. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them. Where I work, right?
Yeah.
I work at William Way Community Center, which is an LGBT community center in Philadelphia. I am the wellness coordinator, so I do work around tobacco cessation and incident partner violence. And why I do what I do? In 3 words. Oh, okay.
3-ish words.
You're allowed to pass on that and just say like a sentence if you'd like.
Serving communities motivates me.
My name is Carrie Dunworth. I work my pronouns are she, her. I work for Montauk Children and Adolescent Services in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I do what I do because as a child I always wanted help. So I like to help people because I'm drawn to that.
My name is Tara. I go by she, her, hers. I am an outpatient child and adolescent therapist at Montauk. I'm also a private practice clinician in Greensburg, and I am passionate about mental well-being.
My name is Kate Lisi. I work at Montauk Community Services for these two in the Child and Adolescent Division as a behavioral outpatient therapist. And I believe speaking your words out loud can be transformational.
I'm Casey. My pronouns are, I usually say whatever neutrals you can use consistently. I don't care which ones, but these days that defaults to they, them, so. I work as a residential counselor at a group home for young adults for Mercy Behavioral Health, and I do that because I get a lot of gratification out of being people's cheerleader. That's what I do.
Noah Riley, he, him, his. I'm a health educator at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, and I do what I do because it's important to me to close those inequity gaps. There you go.
I'm Sue. I work at Pennsylvania Department of Health in Harrisburg, tobacco prevention program. I do what I do to help eliminate secondhand smoke from vulnerable communities.
My name is Samantha. I don't care what you call
tell me you're not going to offend me. I work in HIV at the Erie County Department of Health, and I do what I do because I like to, I'm a registered nurse, I like to help people through that initial diagnosis.
And what pronouns do you use on a day-to-day basis?
As I said, you're not
Well,
gonna
right,
offend me.
which is a great sentiment, but when you navigate the world, what pronouns do you use?
Like, am I saying they missed the bus, she missed the bus, he missed the bus, it's his birthday, her birthday, their birthday?
Well, when I'm talking about myself, I use I don't use she. It would be somebody else. But if somebody else was to call me something, I guess it would be she.
Great. Great. It is a great sentiment to be like, I'm not offended, but it helps us be as respectful as we can of you.
Thank you.
Hi, Nancy Miles, Pennsylvania Department of Health, Tobacco Prevention and Control, Project Officer for 3 of the regional primary contractors, also statewide coordinator for the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, Youth Tobacco Survey. I do what I do because I'm passionate about tobacco prevention and cessation. Which way?
Right.
Yeah, right, you got it.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Rosso, they, them. I am the Executive Director of the Hugh Lane Wellness Foundation. We have a Center of Excellence in Gender and Sexuality, wellness services, capacity building for small grassroots, LGBT startup orgs, etc. I do what I do because I want to provide more access and resources and capacity to make sure that the next generation and the current generation of leadership in our communities reflects the people that we serve.
Hi, I'm Stacy Mitchell. I go by she, her. I work for Pittsburgh Mercy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm one of the supervisors of our child outpatient program. And I do what I do to help people, whether that be the people that we serve or the people that work under us to make sure that everybody's wellness.
Laura Hiley, I also work for Pittsburgh Mercy in the child and adolescent outpatient and also oversee the wraparound program there. I do what I do because I believe smaller people, sometimes smaller problems, hopefully get in there and get some resources in place before they get too big.
Good catch. Narrowly missed.
My name is Maddie Whitney. I go by she, her. I also work at Montauk Community Services in McKeesport as an adult outpatient therapist. And I do what I do because I believe everybody needs healthy mental health, and I like to help people in their growth process.
I'm Bianca Diaria. I work for UPMC Health Plan.
Can you speak in the microphone?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
My name is Bianca Diaria. I work for UPMC Health Plan. I'm a care manager in the community, and I'm from Pittsburgh, and I do what I do because I want to help people use their voices and empower them.
Oh, what are your pronouns?
Oh, she and her.
Thanks.
So my name is Anthony Bell. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am an adult outpatient therapist at Montauk Community Services in McKeesport, PA. I do what I do because I love watching people heal and really caring about them.
My name is Jeff Duran. Preferred pronouns are he, him, his. Clinician for UPMC, and I do what I do because I can.
Pass the mic. Chanel can't get away with sneaking in.
Oh, I was gonna wait till we're done, but
This
you give me the mic. Hi, I'm the person who came in late, I'm sorry. I'm Chanel DeVito, I'm the Director of Inclusion at Pittsburgh Mercy Behavioral Health. And I do what I do because I believe in being a transformative force within organizations and really being a change agent and provide the voice for people that normally do not have a voice.
Okay, now I can go back.
Okay, now I'm gonna bring it back, there you go.
My name is Andrew. I go by he and him. I work at UPMC Mercy, and I work because I like to help others through personal experience. Oh yeah.
Hi, my name is David Gardner, and I'm a senior peer navigator with UPMC WIPIC, Peer Navigation Project. And my practice is out of UPMC Mercy Uptown, seeing patients. My pronouns are him and he. Among friends, and playfully, I will answer to she and her, as in, girl, she's a mess.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
And what we do, my adversity in life brought me to this calling. And I love to empower and share my personal experiences with folks suffering with substance use disorder.
My name is Renee Lendak. My pronouns are she and her. I work for Western Psychiatric Institute and Clinic as well. I'm stationed at UPMC East. I work with patients with substance use disorder, and I do it because advocating for that community means a lot to me, and they need as much support as they can get.
My name is Nicole Bear. I'm a behavioral health program specialist in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. My preferred pronouns are she and her. I'm here with my work husband today. And the reason that I do things that I do is because I'm an advocate.
Thanks. Jeremiah Johnson, he, him. I work at Fayette County Behavioral Health Administration and with Value Behavioral Health of Pennsylvania. Yeah, the insurance guy. I already wrote like, what's the insurance doing here? I'm also a social worker, clinical care manager. I am in a very rural community, which is Fayette County, so I love working with individuals in rural populations and connecting them to valued resources. Oh.
Hi, I'm Amanda Collins, she, her, and hers. I am the mental health counselor at Penn State Fayette the Everly campus. And I do what I do because I like to help others learn and grow about themselves through understanding their emotions and being able to communicate those things effectively.
Danielle Jackman, I work for Pittsburgh Mercy, she and her, as a DUI assessor / interventionist. Basically, it's important to me because I want people to understand the dangers of driving under the influence and the harm that it causes, not just to them, but to everybody. Oh, here you go.
Oh, nice toss.
Wait,
For you.
Oh, thanks so much. Hi. I'm Em. I go by they and them pronouns. I work at Public Health Management Corporation, which I'll tell you about. I'll throw it back to the 3 words. I love data / I'm a nerd. So yeah, thanks so much for
Thank you all so
for
much,
being
and to kind of riff off of that great keynote speech this morning. Like I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but sometimes, especially considering things that are going on at the federal level, it feels working in health and being. I'm part of the queer community, and being part of the community, it feels a little daunting, the day-to-day. But then you go to something like this, and you hear what people do and why they do it, and that makes me feel more well. That makes me feel well here and here. So thank you for your generosity and for doing what you do. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Okay, again, real quick. I'm an interviewer, so I go out in the field and collect data, and I work in research and evaluation. That's one of the arms of PHMC. Got a BA in Psych, Soc, LGBT Studies. Also, on the side, I'm the communications director with the Philadelphia Tenants Union and Tenants Advocacy and Direct Action Coalition. You can ask me about that if you want. Yeah, I'm here, I'm queer and non-binary and polyamorous, and I felt like I could say it because I'm at a queer conference. What up?
And I'm Andrew Carroll. I'm born and raised in California, came to Philadelphia to be an actor, went to UArts. I have my BFA in make-believe. I have been a theater educator in town for as long as I've been an actor, since about 2008. I teach with Curio Theater Company in West Philly. I have started a couple different theater companies. I help grant write. And I'm more recently a health educator with the HEART program at PHMC. The HEART program, Lee's wearing one of our shirts. It's health education and relationships through theater. And it is a comprehensive consent-based sex ed program for youth and teens with ASD and mild ID. And it is, and through the lens of theater, so it's kind of like a perfect storm of something that I was passionate about personally and artistically together.
Yeah.
And I'm a bisexual community member of the community.
Whatever. All right, so PHMC, it's a pretty big thing. It stands for Public Health Management Corporation. It is wildly big. So sometimes so big we don't even know how big. So it's 45 years old. There are 350 programs and subsidiaries around the city and surrounding counties. So almost everything, like direct service-wise, can somehow link back to PHMC, but some of the major programs are nutrition, diabetes, behavioral health, drug and alcohol treatment, sexual health, child services, and disability services. Oh yeah, and nursing. And yeah, I'm in, like I said, the research and evaluation group. Some of my colleagues are also presenting about the health needs assessment that right now that took place. Definitely go to the website and check that out. But yeah, generally we do needs assessments, evaluate programs, and try and do education as well.
And the Philadelphia Sexual Health Initiative, or PASHI, we really like acronyms. I don't know if you work for organizations that also like acronyms. But PASHI, Philadelphia Area Sexual Health Initiative, that's where HEART is housed. But we also have, we do a lot of programming around sexual health in general, and we have just started doing a LGBTQIA plus cultural competency training that we just started to run about 2 months ago. Lee helped develop this curriculum, and it is the first step to expanding our programming to be a lot more inclusive. Provide direct services to the LGBTQIA plus community instead of just the one training. We are hoping to serve, like both sides of the spectrum, very young to the very old, because we know both have a lot of need, and everyone that falls in between.
All right, so before we talk about our Employee Resource Group, or ERG, just to add some acronyms, an Employee Resource Group generally is something that happens within an organization. It's a group of employees in partnership with their company, hopefully who want to support and enhance the business goals or sort of create community with each other. There are a lot of things that ERGs can form around, but some of the bigger ones are gender, race, sexuality, disability status, and they can run things like environmental advocacy, community service, or workplace wellness.
Does anyone here have an LGBTQ ERG at there? Yeah? Cool.
You got one?
Cool. So you're just along for the ride. You fill in stuff that we've missed. So how do ERGs add value? We believe they add a lot of value, but here are some of the broad strokes of how they could. Career development workshops and mentoring programs. There's a lot of people within the Philadelphia Area Sexual Health Initiative that are also part of our LGBTQIA+ group. So it's nice to have people that I'm working in a lot of different capacities with as mentors on a personal level as well. Very cool. External recruitment programs. Internal communication campaigns on diversity-related themes. We'll talk about that when we get to our personal initiatives for our group. Community partnerships, always very cool. Feedback on diversity inclusion progress, which is important for organizations if they miss things, for us to be like, hey, you missed this. And uplifting cultural celebrations and networking opportunities.
It's just nice to be around other queers sometimes. So some fun facts, more like stats, but things.
Fun stats.
Fun stats. ERGs happen in many industries. Bigger ones are like health insurance, engineering, higher education, tech, pharmaceuticals, retail, also public health, I guess, because we're a big thing. ERGs help people stay engaged at their workplace. They increase the intent to remain at their job, and they create a greater sense of inclusion and sometimes also innovation in a workplace. So when you feel like you belong there, it's easier to imagine yourself there. It's easier to imagine yourself growing there, creating innovative practices in whatever you do. Yeah, it's been proven by the numbers, so listen to those and check the records.
Yeah, if you feel well, it's easier to create and sustain your own energy to help other people, as you all know.
Yeah, a lot of ERGs relate, do things through community service, and they also help to raise cultural awareness. Some of that we'll talk about in our presentation. And they're also a useful channel to communicate with company executives. Basically, more powerful in numbers when you're talking to the big boss, and sometimes being in community together is an easier way to get things done.
Yeah, it's like working here as a who. Like when it's just one person screaming, a little hard. But it's everyone raising their voices together, then the elephant can hear us.
And these are the types of groups that might come out of an ERG. So veterans, disabilities, women in the workforce, working parents, single parents, or LGBTQIA A plus adults, like we are talking about right now. So collective impact is a framework, and that is some of what we borrowed, or we borrowed parts of this framework in order to start our own ERG. So this information that I'm about to give comes from the Collective Impact Conference that I just went to. And like I said, collective impact, a general framework for coming together to solve a big problem. And a backbone is part of that, and it's basically dedicated staff or group members within to help facilitate group work. So some of the things that a backbone does, I know this is a lot of text, but go with me for a minute. Backbones can help guide vision and strategy, support aligned activities, establish shared measurement practices, advance policy, and mobilize resources to to cultivate community engagement and ownership. Some of the things that they might do might be like making a mission statement, or organizing a social gathering, making an evaluation survey, like we'll talk about later. Writing emails. Writing emails is a very important backbone function. And spending money, or gathering personal resources, like organizing a bake sale or a potluck. Some really important things to allow people to be together.
Great. So our group at the HMC, this is direct text from Mara, who is now, like we said, getting her master's. There are many LGBTQ identified employees at the HMC having conversations about a desire to create a queer space at our organization. These separate casual conversations grew into a more solidified concept of creating an identity group that meets regularly to support one another, foster community, and work on making PHMC more LGBTQ friendly. Fun fact, that the final conversation before it became an official group happened at an LGBTQ conference. So if you're here with people you work with, like this is a very good, inciting moment for you to create your own.
It's a sign, guys.
Our group has grown to 43 members, including an alumni network that is former group members, the majority of whom continue to work in services around Philadelphia, which is very cool because they come back, check in, and we trade information and services. It's member-led with our evaluation data. A lot of our people in our group are part of the research and evaluation group, which is great because we have a lot of queer data nerds who give us really nice information. Our data has shown that 95% of members feel their voices heard in the group. So we've led a couple, the R&E group has led a couple of surveys, so 95%, which is a great number. The 5% that doesn't, we're working on. But the 95 is a very nice number. And our mission is to serve as a resource to both LGBTQ plus identified employees and staff outside the group.
I'll go on this one. Yeah. So one of the great things about the group is that it really is a place to hold space for everybody who identifies in the spectrum in our organization. So that's all the way up from part-time data entry person who sees the poster and wants to get involved, all the way to directors who have like a lot of sway, can help us get something done with our initiatives. Like I said, PHMC is real big, and we're a lot of different places across, and some of our struggle has been notifying everybody within the organization, but we're getting better, and so far we have people from 11 different departments and subsidiaries, so that happens all over the city. People like drive in or take the public transportation from Care Clinic, from other sites across, and we do our best to accommodate everyone.
And because PHMC is such a broad organization that houses a lot of affiliates, that is something, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but to hold in your mind if you have some solutions to this. Organizing meetings when you have people that work all over the city is challenging. People that work in our main building at 15th and Market, very easy to get them to come downstairs to a meeting, but if you work 45 minutes away, how do you find time to do you call into the group? Sometimes the call doesn't work. How does that work? So thinking for later, for our group discussion.
Also, people from a number of different kinds of places. Like we've got people who are working in clinics, we've got people who are other types of direct service providers, and then we've got people who are working more in like a traditional office setting. And like, how do we build a group that accommodates all those people, all their schedules, all the things that they might need? Yeah, and we talked about collective impact, but basically diverse stakeholders, shared goals. Oh yeah, we were in Pride this year. Oh no, did the pictures not happen? Oh, I have pictures up. But just a side note before we talked about our larger work, we were in Pride this year and it was a really great experience. We gave out 1,000 condoms. 1,000 condoms in 2 hours.
Immediately.
So good. And that's really hard to do when everyone's also giving out condoms at the other booths around you. Maybe the one with pictures will be in the app.
And has everyone seen this flag? The more inclusive flag? The black and brown stripe was added in 2017 by Amber Heights, who is what is her official title?
Director of LGBT affairs.
And she is great, and it is because we stand on the shoulders of a lot of black and brown members of our queer community that helped start to put us on the map and to let us be visible and here today. So that was added there, and then we also have the trans flag because our trans siblings also are a massive part of our community.
Yeah.
So we have some initiatives of our own at PHMC that we are trying to put through, and they're all very much in progress. The first and the most important one that we're doing right now is establishing gender-neutral restrooms at our headquarters and across our organization sites, both the benefit staff and clients. Again, because PHMC is so widespread, this is an ongoing process because at our building, they don't exist yet, but we are in conversation to get them there, to get gender-neutral restrooms there. But we are also considering a lot of different sites that have a lot of different clients.
Philadelphia's old and its buildings are old as well, so that's kind of a challenge. Also, some members of our ERG are developing a sexual orientation and gender identity guide, not expression, purposefully not including expression, for survey questions. And basically that's like a model for how to incorporate culturally competent questions into any surveys that PHMC might put out. So that's using updated language to be sensitive to different people within the community. And honestly, it's kind of hard to do for people who are trying to do their job and then also trying to update all their measurements at the same time. And that's one of the ways we feel that we've been and are going to continue to be successful in providing resources within our organization to make our own people better as well as within and without. That's what I'm trying to say.
And to that end, there was an internal email within the group. One of the programs that Pashi does, SHARP, is a sexual education program for young black women. And we are, within our group, we are going through and coming through and taking the first part of our curriculum, which has a lot of anatomical language, and trying to see where it falls into gender terms and how we can remove that and make it person with a penis and person with a vagina instead of the women's parts and the man's parts, because that's just not true.
And lastly, we also started working on reviewing workplace policies, like our dress code policy, which we didn't find to be inclusive enough of people of different gender identities. So again, all these are in progress. If you want to hear about the specific progress, definitely come back to us. But that's generally what we're working on. All right, let's talk about some numbers again. So this is essentially the details of this, but the important part is that 22 members of our group took the survey, 16 members completed the entire survey, so think about that when you're looking at the numbers. It was collected and summarized by 2 members of the group from R&E, and it generally asked about how membership impacts their work experience, members' opportunity and ability to participate in group structure and function.
And if you'd like to look at the survey itself, it is available on the app in our presentation. The formatting is great. It's very nice.
Yeah, so that one that is on the app, that was an internal document. Basically, one of the group members who had organized it gave back some of the data that would be most relevant for us in planning, but there was some other questions asked as well. But that's an example of how you might use an evaluation survey to like forward group progress and some specific types of information. So again, 11 subsidiaries, data entry staff to department directors. Top 3 reasons people joined was to meet other LGBTQ employees, to advocate for inclusive organizational policies, and to participate in group social activities. Do you want to summarize these?
Definitely, absolutely. 100% of respondents always feel respected by members. That is incredibly nice to hear. That is great, and that is definitely the first thing you notice when you walk into the when you walk into the room. I've been there for just over a year. My boss told me about it, kind of like, hey, there's this thing. You should kind of come to it. But when you walk in there, it just feels. Sometimes, this is my first time I used to like wait tables and do puppet shows about teeth for kids. I've done a bunch of random jobs and as a freelance theater artist. So this is my first like 9 to 5 in an office. And sometimes in a 9 to 5 office, the structure doesn't always lend itself to feeling to feeling comfortable in like gender expression in like floral Henleys and mascara and like my like lovely Ruby Woo red lipstick. But when I see these people that are also in this group, walking in the hallway, when you walk into the room for a meeting, I can feel my shoulders release. That is wellness. That is incredibly important to feeling like I'm a part of it, like I'm a part of a team that sees me.
Yes.
95% of respondents feel their voices heard in the group and can voice concerns about the group if an issue arises. Very nice. 94% of respondents agree that the group is member-led, and 88% feel responsibilities are shared by group members. And it provided platforms for suggestions of ways to make meetings more accessible, what you was talking about when you have people spread out across Philadelphia. How do you get everyone in the building, or how do you figure out the conferencing? I'm sure all of you know when you go to meetings and people call in, like it's hit and miss. So we're trying to get our technology to match the desire to be there.
Yeah. And just to note, the person who designed it is excellent at design, but you really don't need a fancy design in order to get this information and give it out to your people. That was just a nice thing that we were able to do. And while this seems superficial, it's actually a lot easier than you might think. You think of some questions that you care about the answer to, you make a little survey monkey and then you send it out to however many people you have. But an evaluation in a way that's a little bit more removed, a little bit more anonymous, can, I think, really help a group move forward in being able to assess themselves. And that was a valuable thing that we were able to do. All right. So that was a majority of what we were talking about. Any questions before we? I already spoiled it, but.
Who is this? Who knows who this is? Pretty.
Yeah.
Because in Pittsburgh you have, your mascot is a penguin or something? Something completely, has nothing to do with ice. So we have Gritty in Philadelphia. And Gritty is a delightful leftist icon and gay advocate. Because we have painted him that way.
We legit took him over. All the corporate people were like, why is Gritty gay now? And we're like, because he is. Because I said so. Their pronouns are Z and Zer, thank you. And this is Gritty of Pride. And we actually really love him, even though a lot of people like me, I don't have anything to do with hockey, but I really love Gritty, and Gritty has been a really colorful character. But essentially, we want you to be gay and start an ERG if you want. And so does Gritty. But for right now, we've got about 20 minutes left. If there's no questions, we'll facilitate a discussion. So you've got to talk sometime. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I have a question in terms of, so as a cisgender, heterosexual ally, from what I understand from this presentation, this group provides people in the LGBTQIA community a space to be themselves and feel safe and voice their concerns and feel heard. So as an ally, and maybe you can just speak to your experience or if you have conversations, you want to be able to protect that space and honor that space and allow that space while also supporting and helping where you can. So is this a group where you want to bring in everybody, or is this a group where you want to be able to craft that space just for that community, right? how have you seen it work? Maybe what would be suggestions?
Well, that's actually something that comes up very often because PHMC is full of very caring individuals who are allies and they really want to help. Really want to help, but and we love them for that. But we actually intentionally make our space only for people who identify in the LGBTQ IAA, most of the letters spectrum. And you don't necessarily have to like self-identify when you walk into that room. If you feel like it's your space, it's your space. But we do not add allies to that particular space, and we're kind of considering ways in which we could open that up. We're thinking about having basically our normal meetings and then also meetings that can involve allies as well, and to be really strategic about those and say like, what can we get done with allies while still holding our own space?
Because I know that it is hotly contested that of the many A's in the LGBTQIAA+, because there's a bunch, that one of them on some websites is ally. And some people don't feel that that's an appropriate thing to add them because it is you're technically not part of their experience. But I do, part of the cultural competency training that Lee has, that we do with Lee and through Pashi, is the baseline work to what an ally does. It shows the continual work and continual advocating and continual knowledge amassing that what an ally does. We've been asked twice now in these trainings by someone that we assume is part of the queer community. It was anonymous questions on a poll that said like, how do you find the emotional space to do that labor for people? And that's why we run the trainings, because I like the cross section is like, I'm a cisgender, bisexual male that grew up in Pasadena, California. I have some space to take on some emotional labor and do some cultural competency. Not everyone does. But there is, I think movements are bolstered by allies, if allies are willing to stand on the front lines and sometimes in front of people that need protection. So that is a big way of saying we are working on trying to find a place for allies to come into our meetings, but not the general meetings. Yeah.
I worked in the field of addiction for a long time, and I wasn't a part, I wasn't in recovery or anything, so very early in my career, it was suggested that I attend what was called open meetings. Mm-hmm. And that's probably where I learned the most. So like I was just wondering in terms of the group, like what are your thoughts on maybe structuring some meetings that would be considered open so allies could attend and actually learn, and then you could get some sign-ins, some names, and possibly distribute surveys to that group of people as well.
That is definitely been part of the conversation.
Yeah, I think that's generally the plan. I think part of what I'm thinking is that we probably need to leverage those ally meetings to include getting some support on our initiatives, speaking specifically about the gender neutral bathroom. PHMC is about to host the American Psychological Association, or the APHA conference.
Public Health Association.
It's American Public Health Association conference. And there's an LGBTQ contingent within that. And we're trying to leverage and be like, oh, we're this like fancy, shiny public health company without any gender neutral bathrooms. What's up with that? How are we gonna support our trans and non-binary employees, clients, visitors? So I'm thinking that the point of those meetings should be to bring everyone in, but it should be really purposeful, and in order to call it to action. Because I think it is purposeful to make those meetings closed right now because there's never a safe space, but you can make spaces safer. And sometimes it is a safer space when you're just able to blow off steam with people who you trust in that particular way. It's a long-behind answer. Long-winded. Long-winded, that's a good one. Any other questions?
have some for you if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, what kind of initiatives might make your workplace better for LGBTQ individuals? Whether you're part of the community or a fierce advocate and ally, what do you think?
At Pittsburgh Mercy, I'll give Chanel some
Oh, I was getting ready to go, but you go ahead.
Works with the diversity inclusion part of HR, and as a company, we're all encouraged to put on our email signatures our pronouns. You're kind of encouraged to get that conversation started, and either as an ally or someone who maybe uses pronouns that don't align with how you might think, or with their legal name. That's part of our Mercy email. Just starting that conversation was really encouraged across the agency, I think.
That's such a big thing too. Because not gonna lie, I'm nervous every time I have to say like, oh, by the way, my pronouns are. And like, if people who are cis can like lift that up, I don't have to be as scared or nervous or socially anxious like I am otherwise about how that goes.
Yeah, queer that's great. That's great. That is I understand the argument for like corporations profiting off of pride and stuff. The flip side of Target having rainbow stuff is a bit of queer normalcy. Like they better be fierce advocates in not just June, but now I'm getting to walk into a Target and be like, yes, queen shirt. I'm like, all right, that's me.
We can have a long talk about that. Did you have something else to say before we're done?
Oh, I was just, well, thank you. I'm glad you read my email. And part of the thing, I want to make sure that it's an organic process, and while we understand it, my goal was not to just throw this out here, but people understanding what does these terms mean. So I say genderqueer, you know exactly what that means, you know how to apply that. I think a lot of times people say, oh, it should be mandatory, but on the flip hand side, a lot of people just don't understand any of this, and they've never really been exposed to this. So I want to make sure I'm educating our staff and also our person served, but also I have a zero tolerance in the organization now. If you don't agree with what we're trying to do as an organization, where we're trying to go, and I wish you all the best luck. It just won't be in our organization anymore.
Yeah.
I think organizations just need to start moving that way. I just think sometimes this idea of just tolerating intolerance, I'm just not for that. So zero tolerance on our part.
Thank you. Yeah. There was another person.
So I was thinking about Todd's talk, and he talked about the woman that at her workspace couldn't put her children's pictures up for 10 years, and that really just struck me how upsetting that would be if I couldn't have my child's picture up, or my husband's picture up, or my partner's picture up, and just and I'm not going to be a well person if I have to hide that part of my life. And I just think to make our workspaces more inclusive of all, whether it being like having a champion LGBTQA person to put in our newsletter and say we want you, something to just make our workspaces more inclusive of all, whatever that might be. It's something I have to think about.
I think the theme you're hitting on is visibility.
Yes, absolutely.
And visibility is really important. Giving yourself permission to be visibly who you are gives other people permission to be visibly who they are, and that is super important. But I would caution you against that. Visibility does not equate to changes in policy. And while people can increase visibility, Pennsylvania is still a right to work state, and having one-on-one conversations with people knowing their rights about discrimination or anti-discrimination it needs to happen in hand with visibility. Policy change, real material change for people, because that person might be like, oh great, cool, they have a gay CEO, they have a gay whatever, but my coworker who sits next to me, if I put my picture of my wife and kids, they might still not pick me for projects. They might still complain to the boss about me. So Pennsylvania's got a lot of structural issues, and I really want to say I applaud you in thinking about visibility. But I think it's very important to not just think that that's the answer, that happens as a result of structural change. And it's a really hard conversation, and there's a lot of resources to figure that out.
I have a question that I don't think I'm formulating very well, but I'm hoping you all will understand me. So we used to have a group much like this, but what we ended up having a struggle with is A, tokenizing particular people, and then B, it meant that everybody who was participating in this group was essentially doing additional labor that was sometimes being paid, sometimes not being paid. And from an organizational standpoint, you know, being a nonprofit that's kind of has resource issues and provides direct clinical care, there's a lot of limitations related to scheduling and geography and how do you get all these people connected at times that are not inconveniencing other staff or patients or whatever. And so in thinking about, like, this is something I really want to do, but there's a lot of those sort of like logistical questions that I feel are really important to not overburdening particular people who already identify with a group that does a lot of emotional labor. So I'm curious if you guys can speak a little bit more to that.
I got a thought. Do you have a thought?
Go for it.
Okay. So that is something that in my work at the tenants union as well, it's all unpaid, it's all volunteer. And I think sometimes the way that really works out is that you just kind of have to do things slower, and you just kind of have to move at the pace that everybody is actually capable of, as opposed to doing all the things you want and burning people out as well. And I think that Mara did a really good job of taking on a lot of work because she's one, a superstar, and two, laying out the ways in which, like, starting the conversations in which we can more evenly distribute the work. I think it's never ever perfect, but setting really, really reasonable limits might be the way to start. Like, I'm not getting paid for any of the work done. I mean, technically, y'all are paying me right now. R&D's not paying me. Yeah, I think it's like being intentional about not pushing people past their capacity, and I think it also has to do with looking into ways that resources can be freed up to support people who might be more marginalized than otherwise, like lower paid staff of color, staff who have chronic illness, like those kinds of things. And there's like no easy answer, but I think just start small.
Yeah. We have time for maybe one or two more. Yeah.
I was just going to share in our organization and across services, we have done trainings, which is one great thing if people want to come and have time. That would transform into what we call cafe conversations, and it's a shorter, organized, informal, laid back way to come together and have some topical conversations for me, something that's passionate, been raised in the dominant culture, transitioning into the non-dominant culture. I can straddle both in a sense of accepting people for who they are from where they came as a way to raise people. And we have a lot of people in our organizations that don't know what they don't know. And they've come to the table and had these uncomfortable conversations about, this is uncomfortable for me, or I'm not sure about this, or what do I do about that, or the policy says this, how do I handle it? I feel like I'm passionate enough to have that conversation, so opening that conversation to everyone, to be able to come to the table and have the uncomfortable conversations.
And you identified yourself as having the space in which to do that. That's incredibly generous.
We just created a space that we're having an open dialogue, and people say some uncomfortable, insensitive things with not ill-intended, and want to come to the table to say, what's the best way for me to do this? And we allow that space to happen. It has to happen in the culture.
If it's not accessible to everyone, it is not revolutionary. So thank you for holding that space.
You want to call that?
Oh, we did a call to action. Being gay started me or G.
Yeah. So you've heard what it does for us. If you have the space and ability to do this at your own organization, please Grady says so. Then we got some references there in the PowerPoint on the app. Here is us. Here's our websites, swag and gift cards in the back. Thank you so much. You've been lovely.